Hi guys, I'm Ann Morrow, owner and creator at Pearson Bell at Home in Old Town Spring in Spring, Texas. And it's quite blistery hot outside. We did have quite a bit of rain this weekend. So as you hop on, tell me where you're from and tell me a cool fact about the town you're in. I like to learn about where our people are watching from, and I like to learn new things about your cities. All right, so today we're gonna delve into the dirty side of painting. Nobody likes to talk about it. Everybody groans about it. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna make this so that you can understand why it's so important. So a well-prepped piece is a well-quality painted piece. So why prep? I can just throw chalk paint on this, right? No, because the chalk paint's gonna stick onto the dirt. That dirt's not really stuck onto your original surface. So we've got to clean your piece. Clean it really well. Hey, Dustin. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started cleaning. So the cleaner that we're gonna actually use today is the Dixie Belle White Lightning. Put it right there. So we've had this for about 1.5 years. We have not even used half of it. We used quite a bit of this. So what we're gonna do, this will give you the gallon formula here on the can. We do sell this in our store, online and in the shop. All right. So what we're gonna do is 1 teaspoon of the cleaner to 16 ounces of water. All right, and it is a powder form. And we do a generous teaspoon in there. And I'm pretty lazy, so I like to put it in a bottle so that I can just shake it up, spray it, and go on with my day. All right. And you can pick these up at your local hardware store, the containers. You probably have 2 or 3 hanging around at home that have nothing in it, or you have recycle. So I was shopping at the local home goods store, and you can buy a bottle cleaner already mixed up at $6, or you can buy this one, $6, and it's gonna make you about 32 16-ounce bottles. What we're gonna do is, it is a chemical, so I do like to, because you're gonna get pretty dirty. All right, so we're gonna put on our gloves for this. This is probably the only time you see me put on gloves, unless it's oil-based. Then I'll throw in some gloves, so I don't feel like washing that off. All right, so I'm gonna take a clean cloth, and just get the bag of rags, or any old rag you have at home will work. And let's show you how dirty this piece is. Now this was a cool find. This was in my attic here in my store. So see that piece? Pretty maroon looking, isn't it? All right, so let's go ahead. We've got our White Lightning already mixed up. And I'm just gonna squirt it on here. I do have a plastic bag on the bottom here so it doesn't get all over our paper, because it makes it kind of nasty. So you will get pretty wet. So if you're doing this at home, put some plastic down so you don't get your floors wet and all that good stuff. All right, so this is my first kind of wipe here, and I want you to see the difference already. That was a filthy piece, and it's not quite as maroon as I thought it was. It's pretty red. So we're gonna clean out the whole entire guy. So again, generously spray it on, and you're gonna be wiping it off. You're gonna go through the whole entire project. So if you were at home and you wanted to paint your cabinets in your kitchen, you would do the same process, or any piece of furniture. So I do like, if I'm doing my kitchen cabinets, I would most likely use one of those green sponges or green Brillo pads like that. I usually cut it in half so I can use it on my hand a little bit easier. That thing is kind of big the way it is. So I would use that to help scrub and get the dirt off of my cabinets, because cabinets can be pretty greasy and we don't really realize it. You clean them, but you don't deep clean them every day or every week or even every month. So we want to make sure you have a good clean surface. A lot of times furniture will have product like Pledge that has silicas in it, which isn't good for your paint either. It's not good for your finish. So, hi Mom, hi Ann. So we'll get to cleaning this guy. I did take out we had some nails in it. This is a piece that was on our building. Our building is quite old. It was probably in the attic for the last 20, 30 years. So it's been up there with all the squirrels. Evidently there's squirrels up there. Hi Linda. All right. And why are we cleaning? Why is it such a big deal? It's because you want to make sure your paint's going to adhere to the surface of your project. All right. And how are we going to get in all these spindles? Pretty easy. Just going to squirt it. Take your rags. If you have like a spindly piece, just kind of brush it in. So think of a spindle chair. You want to get all those spindles because that collects dust and dirt. And you don't want that to affect your paint job. So we're going to keep cleaning this guy up for us. Any paint projects you guys want to tackle or dreaming about or too scared to do? What can we help you kind of go through? What can we walk you through? I know Dustin's working on his fireplace. Yes, you can paint your fireplace surround and mantle with all of our paints. Get this a nice, good, clean surface. So now you can see maybe a dining table is super easy, or your cabinets would be easier to clean. So the more spindles you have, a little bit more work you're going to be prepping on it. And that's okay. You'll probably spend about, I don't know, 50% of your time cleaning. And then your other 50 painting. Prep is key. It's really important. If you don't clean, your paint's not going to stick to your surface. Alright. Get that nice and scrubbed away. Look how filthy this thing is. It's pretty dirty. And I'm sure it was really dirty also, probably just regular weather dirt on the piece just before they put it in the attic. And then of course during the years it's just collected lots of dust and dirt and all that jazz. It had a lot of nails in it, so I did take those out. So if you're cleaning something that's old and found, you want to make sure that you remove anything like that before you start cleaning. You don't want to catch your hand on a stray nail. This has a lot of cutouts. So we're gonna get in here and clean all of that out. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do one side of this for you guys to see it. So I do have it all set on the other side. And if you're not sure you got a spot, clean it again. Yes, this is definitely worth it. You would hate to spend hours painting a piece, getting it perfected, and then bam, your paint's not sticking because you didn't prep it. And did you know that if you don't rinse your white lightning off, it can also cause your paint to fail? It's not really the paint, it's just the paint job. So that residue, it's like washing your hair and not rinsing it out. You wouldn't go out in public with soapy hair. That would be pretty gross. All right, so we've cleaned our piece. We're gonna pretend we cleaned the backside. All right, so I'm gonna put away the white lightning. So we're gonna put it away because we don't want to mix it up with when we're rinsing it. Because the white lightning, it looked like water. It looked like I just spread water on the piece, right? So we gotta, pretty gross. So when you guys start cleaning pieces you've had in your house, it won't be this filthy, but you will find that they are pretty dirty. Just like I said, from pledge, fingerprints, just dust settling on the piece, and all that good stuff. So now we're gonna rinse the piece. And I got a clean rag, so we don't want to contaminate it with the old dirty stuff. And we've got clean fresh water. And I like to use the spray mister bottles. So I just like using those. So we're gonna rinse this now. Like I said, just like shampooing your hair, you're gonna wash and you're gonna rinse. And I tend to like to make sure and rinse it. I probably rinse it twice overall. Like I'll go through and do like this, and then I'll come back and do a heavy duty rinse. I just wanna make sure that I've got all that residue off. Like I said, it would be pretty sad to have to redo everything because I didn't rinse it well. I guess prep might be about 25% of the work. Depends on how much painting you're doing. So if you're painting and doing a glaze, think about that. If you had painted and glazed and put a top coat on and you didn't prep your piece, sad time indeed. All right, so same thing with this one. We're gonna get in those grooves. We're rinsing it really, really well. And again, there's still some dirt coming off on this. This guy was pretty filthy. Sometimes you get those bargain finds also, or those on the side of the road pieces. Those sometimes need a little bit more cleaning than some of the others, just because they're extra filthy. Okay, then we're going to go through this just like we did earlier. This is the dirty side of painting, making sure that you're prepping your piece. You've got to get it nice and clean. Kind of therapeutic because then you can get it nice and clean. Like I said, we thought it was burgundy and it's actually more of a red color. So that was interesting. I've had a few pieces that I've cleaned and I thought they were black and they were more of a light brown. So sometimes when you start cleaning pieces, you'll find out what the color really is. Okay, we're gonna get into there and all that good stuff. Sometimes you've got those little spindles, let's say on those spindleback chairs, just take your cloth and work it on those sides. I know it seems redundant or nitpicky, but imagine that's where your paint's gonna chip off if you don't clean it. And then you don't want a bad paint job. All right. So there is one side cleaned. Now, on this particular piece, it has a lot of drips from the original painters that did the work, and it's going to show up. That is going to show up in my paint job. So whatever I do on top is going to show up as well. So whatever you have at the bottom, sorry, it's going to show up. So if you have all these drip marks, it's going to look like your paint has drip marks. So what I do is I just take one of our sanding blocks right here, and I'm just going to quickly sand just that down a bit so it's not going to be so large. And it's not like a hard sanding, it's just a minor. And I don't want to sand over the whole project because I kind of want this to be a little shiny. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a jiffy. So we're going to kind of smooth out those paint drippies. And if you have a project, I know my kitchen cabinets at home, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of sanding. There's some, their top coat that they did has some drips in it. Of course, you don't notice it because it's stained, but once I put paint on that, it's gonna look like an eyesore. So you definitely wanna sand those smoother. Smooth all of those little drips out. Okay. And you're not really like breaking a sweat sanding this. This is a pretty good sander. I like it a lot, sanding pad. And we are adding these to our website as well. They're available here in the store. And I'll come through and rinse that again. I want to get off any of the sanding residue I just put on there. I'm going to rinse that right off. Okay. Alright, so you're going to get those all nice and rinsed off. And the same thing on this back side. You're going to see this, and you're going to want to maybe sand just that, or you know what, it may work to our advantage. So we'll probably keep these on there, no big deal. But we'll go ahead and sand any more drips, because I know we've got some drip marks on this back side that's still very dirty on this side. So, real important, clean your piece thoroughly, rinse your piece. Probably I'm like a broken record. If you come in, you know this. I will always tell you, it's like shampooing your hair, wash and rinse it. So now I've got this dirty area here. Let's get that nice and cleaned off. All right. By the way, so still had some dirt on it when we're rinsing it, so keep rinsing it if you're getting more dirt off your piece. All right, so we have a perfectly cleaned piece waiting for us. What we're gonna do, so we've already cleaned, we've rinsed, you've heard me beat you over the head about that. So now what we're gonna do is move on to playing with our crust texture. This is from Paint Couture. And we want to add a crusty, rusty old part of this on this piece. And just so you know, next week we'll be finishing this guy as well. On our live next Tuesday, we'll be using the Sweet Pickins milk paint and flour sack. That's what we'll be doing on this, and we'll take you through the journey of using milk paint. We're very excited about that. So I'm going to use a couple of cheap chip brushes, and I'm also going to show you one of our spatulas, our mud spatula. So when I have my cheap chip brush, I pull on these little hairs to make sure, because they're cheap. So we're going to make sure that we don't have any hairs, because I don't want hair in my product at all. And by the way, the reason I want to have as much shiny is I'm hoping my milk paint will kind of chip up a little more on those really slick surfaces. So that's kind of, I'm not putting any extra bond in our milk paint next week. All right, so we're going to take our piece. Remember, this is now clean, dry, and all that good stuff. We're going to take this is what our crust looks like. Kind of some specks and flecks in it. All right, I'm just going to get some on my brush. And we're just going to kind of put it out so I can work on it. So if this makes it easier to see, you can always put it on a plate if you want, but I'm going to just kind of dab it just kind of randomly, and it makes a nice thick texture, and it gives it that really nice old vintage vibe. So we got there. So there we've got some texture going on the piece. You can always use your spatula if you want. Let's see, we can put it here in this little corner, and if we wanted a little more texture, like to just kind of stipple it with this so it gives it some texture, some thicker texture than you get on your brush. So you can kind of see how that has come out there for you. So I tend to prefer the brush, and I'll put some on some of our bowls here or knobs. Just kind of put it wherever you want. You can put it on the whole piece. That's not the look I'm going for. And I like this. You can just paint it right on your piece. You don't need a primer for this. It actually adheres really well. So no need for priming this at all. Okay, get yourself some chunks there. If you guys have any questions, just drop them down in the box or down in the comment box, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. If you get too much, it's all right. Okay, I'm going to kind of be a little sporadic on some of those. Some down here. I'm going to wrap it around. Got some holes. We're going to kind of hide those holes with our texture crust. This is called Crust. It's by Paint Couture. All right. Put some in there. Okay. Kind of digging how we've got some crusty texture on that. So once it gets painted, you're not going to see looks a little weird right now, I know. So we're going to go ahead and go on our next side. Again, just paint whatever floats your boat. There's no, like I say, always, there's no wrong way to do it. But not doing it is definitely the wrong way. Hi, Stephen. We are well. Come and visit. All right, I see a little brush here. Get that guy out. Got a little more texture down here. Got a little hole. I'm gonna hide it. You can see this would be really fun on a, you know, this could also hide some imperfections. So if you have a piece that's not totally perfect, you know, this could be the way to go. Kind of hide out, instead of having to putty it all up, just kind of hide it. And hide some of those drip marks I missed. Okay, we got another little hole there. So I like the crust a lot. It is way more fun than I expected. And it does really fun stuff once it's dried with the milk paint. I really enjoy it a lot. So I cannot wait to share that with you guys. Next Tuesday, we'll be playing with milk paint. And this. Okay, I want a little, oh, maybe not that chunky. Add that down here. All right. You can also use this with almost like an emboss as well. We do have an embossing texture, but you can use this similarly. It's going to be a little more chunky. I prefer to just kind of dab it on my piece. I have some going there as well. Right. How do we feel about this being completely covered. Now again, looks kind of funky, but it won't, I promise. It'll look really, really good. Next week we'll put the milk paint on and we'll go through the adventures of milk paint. So I have learned a lot doing the milk paint. Yes, crust is very easy to use. Literally just open it and apply it to your piece. And all you're gonna do is now let this dry. So once it's completely dry, then we'll be ready to do whatever paint you want to put on it. So you can paint with chalk paint over this. You can paint with the Paint Couture acrylic paint on it, or you can do the milk paint. Like I said, next week we'll be doing milk paint on this because I want it to be a little more chippy in the overall appearance, or give it a more of a crackled appearance. Milk paint is different, so it can be a little finicky, but we'll go through all that fun stuff, like I said, next Tuesday. So again, prep is key. So clean your piece, rinse your piece, then you can go ahead and start painting your piece, have fun with it. We're doing, of course, the texture crust this week. Like I said, we got it in sporadic spots. I will show you what our finished product's gonna look like. Give you kind of a sneak peek. Dun, 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 dun. All right, see how our crust, what a difference, what a change. So we'll go over the rest of this next Tuesday. So I hope you've learned a little bit, understanding the basics, or the most important part of painting, the dirty side of painting, is make sure your piece is clean, 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 and rinse it, then have fun painting it, do all the good stuff. And again, it's just paint. So at the end of the day, if you're like, paint back over it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. It's a short one today. And thank you, Dustin. Find us at www.pearsonbell.com. The link is in the comments above. Also, 50 free ship is your coupon code. Spend $50 in any of our paint products, including Would You Bend and Prima. $50 and you get free shipping. So again, the code is 50 free ship. That's in the comments as well. So I will see you guys next Tuesday. Happy painting.